even with all their technology and all the spy stuff and satellite stuff, everything that was going on, they still could not push us to the corner.
And they tried though. I mean, they had Ulster Station and normalization,
Yeah.
and they.
Well, that's what the whole hunger strike thing came about.
Exactly. So we're getting to the point there. You were in prison. Actually, I actually want to ask you first about what happened. You tried to escape by dressing yourself as a priest.
No, that's actually not true.
It's not true.
Not true.
Because I mean, it would have been a bit.
That's another Ardline one. Another guy from 2 streets away from me got out as a priest, escaped as a priest from internment. He's a friend of mine. He's much older than me.
How
Well, the two guys from North Belfast escaped dressed as priests on 2 different occasions. One from the internment end and one from the sentence end. And they just... the priest came in to say mass one morning, and one of the guys said, "Jesus, he's a double for Francie and whatever." What? So they sent for the OC and have a look. God, that's amazing, right? So they kidnapped the priest. On the spot, kidnapped the priest, tied him up, took his clothes, and the driver of the van that picked the priest up was in the front. And when he went around to different places to pick the priest up, they get into the back of the van and went out and give in the disc or the card that they had, the permission card to get out. It's different now. There's a stringent security checks. But this was in the cages of internment in 1972, 1974 period.
So what happened exactly? How did you? Why? Because you had privileges.
Yeah,
in prison, and then you went to the H block. So what happened?
Okay,
then?
we had political status, and we were in what's called the cages, and they're identical to the old World War II POW camps, Nissen huts and fenced off compounds. So you had your own clothes, you had your command structure, you had your own system, other than you came in contact with the guards, the screws, if you were going out for a visit or going to the hospital, and that was it. And you run your own day, generally speaking, with the exceptions of security, obviously. And but you're in there doing in an inordinate period of time, and there's always let's dig a tunnel, let's cut a fence, let's try this, let's swap with someone on the visits, and lots of things were going on, and there's just a myriad of ideas that used to come through about.
How did you manage to communicate between you? I mean, between the prisoners, and just manage to get these ideas? Because in fairness, you were able to talk and stuff, but you were controlled 24/7.
No, that is in the H blocks, not in the compound system.
So it was fairly just like being...
You didn't see it. A prison guard opened a hut in the morning, and there were 30 of us or 28 of us in the hut, everybody in their own cubicles.
Oh.
And he opened the door in the morning and went away again. And he came back and he closed it at 9 o'clock at night. And they sent 2 guards in 3 times a day to walk around. Now they would bring in a whole search team once a week. And that's the only time but you were inside this compound with watchtowers.
Are you seriously telling me that the Brits didn't realise that you would actually plan something?
Yeah, of course not. But this was part and parcel. When they granted political status, they granted it on the same basis that you run a World War II prisoner war camp. And it's identical, where the prison administration deal with the representatives of the prisoners. So we had our command structure, our OC, would deal with the governor. And we wouldn't talk to the guards didn't talk to us, and that was it. And we went about and played our football and did our music, handicraft, education, recreation, everything.
It didn't cross your mind that maybe the Brits had a double intention to maybe try to, get for you guys to riot in that sense, just to be able to ambush you, basically?
No, not really. There was a major riot in 1974 over conditions, but our people, and it was before I came in, they were protesting over improvements in conditions, and the Brits weren't budging. And then it exploded, and the straw that broke the camel's back, different ones will tell you different arguments, but it's actually, we're 2 packets of pancakes short for our... No, you're not. Yes, we are. Well, I sent them in. Well, we didn't get them. Well, we're not touching this food until you send the rest of it in. Well, you're not getting the rest of the food. Okay, set fire to the place. No, that sounds crazy. But it was ongoing for months and months and months about improvements in conditions that the Brits would not yield to. And it finally broke over the issue of, the food was a key issue. and recreation facilities.
What did you have
education.
for, like, what was food like?
Food wasn't great, but we were able to get our own parcels in, you see. You could get a parcel once a week, and your mother could send you, your parents could send you, steaks and all the stuff, as long as it's pre-cooked. Right. Send you all that in, and then we had cooking facilities, frying pans and grills.
So it wasn't, it wasn't, like, there no way that you can compare the H block to what you had beforehand.
Oh no. H blocks were dire. Absolutely.
What was that like?
Dire. Well, just to bring you into the H blocks.
Yeah.
The reason were in the compound system was there was a truce in 1972, and the British government negotiated with the IRA.
Yeah. When they gave that excuse that we're only there because you want us there, and we don't really want to have anything to do with Northern Ireland, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're quite happy to do.
What was that? The White Book. They called it
White Law.
The White Law. Yeah.
Well, he was the British minister at the time that was dealing with it. He was the British Secretary of State here, and the Conservative government, so they went over to Whitehall to deal with White Law and his cohorts, and they dealt with British government officials. And while that negotiations were going on over a 2-week period in June, July 1972, there was a hunger strike in Crumlin Road Prison, coming into its 30-40 day period for political status. So the British sorted out the hunger strike issue by granting us political status, but they called it special category status, and anybody convicted under a scheduled offence, open brackets, offences of a political nature, close bracket, and it's all in legislation, right? Subtext, whatever, will be classed as special category, i.e. political prisoners. And they moved our people from Crumlin Road Prison into the compounds, the cages of Longcash. Old British airfield during the Second World War, all caged off on Nissen huts, put them all in there, and had the internees in there as well. So that's where that all came about. They then probably immediately decided as how do we take this away from these people, because we cannot have these people having international political recognition for a conflict that we as the British are saying this is a criminal conspiracy. So they wanted to sell the argument internationally as an internal dispute, and they set about a whole chain of stuff immediately. They brought in the dip black court system, got away with the juries, did away with the juries, brought in dip black court. One single judge who came from a unionist background, British military background, a lot of them, and he would pontificate and rule on the basis of whatever he wanted, and would always side with the military. They then began to phase out the political prisoners and internment. They cut internment in 1975, and they began to phase out the sentence prisoners who were doing fixed sentences, 5, 10, 15, 20. So instead of doing 20, they cut it in half, you would do 10. Instead of doing 10, you would do 5. So that phased out pretty quickly and brought the numbers right down. And similarly, they began to build the H blocks, and they introduced a conveyor belt system of special powers for arrest, special torture centres, the dip black court system. Late 73 they had brought that in, and the H blocks. And the whole thing was to depoliticise and criminalise the struggle. And they felt that by adopting that tactic and breaking the IRA via hundreds of people getting put into jail, by breaking prisoners, that they would do damage to the IRA and subsequently, or as a consequence, to national struggle.
But while they were doing all this, they were